Hi, welcome to She Spice. Joe Rogan is broadly perceived among MMA lovers for his broad experience as the UFC's variety reporter, spanning more than 10 years. Past his game's editorial job, he's likewise secured himself as a carefully prepared jokester, and previous television has had a solid presence in the satire scene and an enormous finishing, especially his digital broadcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, which has topped Spotify's top web recording list. Given his experience, one can hardly comprehend the expansiveness of encounters and bits of knowledge he's acquired throughout the long term. The sound was just, and my director was like contemplating the Elon Musk second when Elon Musk is smoking immense weed. That is a viral second, notwithstanding his different achievements. Joe Rogan is an eminent big name perceived for his genuine conversations and eagerness to enlighten the more obscure sides of Hollywood through his digital broadcasts and individual disclosures. As of late, he has gotten back with one more educational disclosure, this time revealing insight into the problematic acts of projecting specialists in Hollywood. While choosing female ability as an expectation, many are enthusiastically anticipating his next disclosure. Well, she wasn't in any way overweight. She was delightful. She had an extraordinary body. She just had a very strange body, and she was an entertainer. It seems like Joe dislikes the elites of the business from the very start, and the hypotheses developed further when, in the 1951 episode of the JRE digital recording, UFC reporter Joe Rogan welcomed YouTuber CoffeeZilla as his visitor. Their discussion spun around the difficulties and issues tormenting Hollywood. Rogan featured an intriguing viewpoint expressing that, with regards to business, people frequently get a great deal of consideration and deference when they are fruitful and flourishing anyway. When entertainers face hardships or their professions come upon a difficult situation, they frequently end up disengaged, with not many able to participate in discussions with them. You've fostered your own show, and you've made your own thing. You haven't been picked up in Hollywood. The issue is that you're being picked for everything, so you're being projected into these things. Joe Rogan communicated worries about the security of young specialists, especially females, in Hollywood, referring to the agitating practices utilized by Hollywood elites in the projecting system during the conversation on his webcast. The 55-year-old host stressed how Hollywood entertainers frequently feel a sense of urgency to shape their characters to line up with the assumptions of the people who hold the ability to give them jobs in films. He said it in Hollywood. The issue is that you're picked for everything, so you're being projected in these things. You need to manage individuals that support you or pick you, so you're figuring out your character in light of anything. The climate is whatever the philosophy of the greater part of the makers is. Joe's perceptions created a ruckus among individuals, and everyone thought of his own feelings, and, in particular, when he discussed the Sea Party culture of the business, everyone began to interface it with the ongoing circumstances of Diddy during an episode of JRI. Joe Rogan had a cordial gathering with his long-term buddy and previous JRE maker, Brian Redban. These old pals shared stories and exchanged stories of their undertakings. Joe dove into the subject of how Los Angeles resembles no other spot in the whole of America, and he even entertained the crowd with his encounters at a birthday slam tossed by the popular model and entertainer Naomi Campbell. For those who don't know Naomi Campbell, she likewise stood out as truly newsworthy for her relationship with Iron Man. Mike Tyson, as indicated by Rogan, said that party was absolutely unusual. Rogan got going portraying his experience of law, expressing that carrying on with your life in law can be genuinely horrendous for the psycho. There could be no weather conditions. Everybody's attempting to get well known. Furthermore, you're likewise managing these peculiar individuals. He then moved on to depict the strange party he had been to act as an illustration of the insane things around law. The previous military craftsman expressed that I showed up at this strange party once in the Hollywood slopes with Chapel. Rogan additionally portrayed how he wound up at the party, reviewing that they were hanging out at the store and doing sets. Further, Dave was like, I need to show up for this party with me. I got out whatever it is. He said, it's Naomi Campbell's birthday, and we as a whole know right now that Main Diddy is perhaps the ruler of gatherings, and supposedly he is saying that Diddy ought to fear Ricky Gervais. However, Ricky and Jane Fallon, having been together since around 1982, met at College School London and shared a level over a house of ill repute in the then overruler's Cross region known for the pervasiveness of D and S laborers. The couple carried on with an unassuming way of life for a long time prior to making progress in their 40s without your darling. There is no doubt that the principal thing that came to me was, suppose you lost all that and wouldn't think often about anything any longer. Jay's most recent fruitful show, The Great Beyond, portrays the tragic excursion of Tony, a lamenting single man wrestling with psychological well-being issues after the deficiency of his significant other to disease. The series has gathered a huge fan base for its contacting depiction of Tony's marriage, portrayed through flashbacks with home video cuts, catching snapshots of giggling and lively tricks. A profound accolade for Jenny's own relationship with Fallon. I don't think I've at any point been forlorn. He says, I don't think I've at any point experienced sadness or misery like Tony. I've seen it. You don't get to 60 without seeing most things. I've lost 2 guardians, a kin, every one of my pets, and a few companions. Yet a definitive loss for me would be losing my perfect partner. That is the most terrible thing that could happen to me. So a creative mind fiction originates from that, regardless of the weighty topic of the hereafter. Ricky Gervais, talking from his London home decorated with various prizes and grant words, uncovers that he doesn't continually harp on considerations of death. Rather, he underscores the significance of carrying on with life to the fullest instead of focusing on the unavoidable end. Anyway, Jay does recognize being somewhat of a despondent person, a propensity that Jane, his accomplice, attempts to ease by giving consolation when he becomes suspicious about his well-being. I'm not the kind of individual that circumvents going. I believe I will kick the bucket one day. He says it should be obvious that I need to pass on well. I am ace personal satisfaction. I'm exceptionally favorable to helping biting the dust. However, demise is what it will be. It's the circle of life for 13.1/2 billion years. We don't exist. Then we have around 80 years. Then we pass on at no point ever to exist in the future. That is all there is to it. The main thing you can do is make your 80 or 90 years, assuming you're fortunate, the absolute best they can be. I don't ponder passing. Having said that, on the off chance that I awaken, and I have a not, I tell Jane that is malignant growth. She'll go, no, it isn't. Don't you recollect you hit yourself with a brush? Or I'll go, gracious, my pulse is up. She'll go, you've recently had 3 cups of espresso and ran up the steps. Or Jane, I have gut malignant growth. She'll go, we had beetroot the previous evening, subsequent to arriving at its 3rd series. Existence in the wake of death has charmed a monstrous crowd of 100 million viewers universally. As per Netflix, the show's fans have followed Tony's excursion from considering suicide to acknowledging he was unable to abandon his cherished canine. Liquor for however much I need, which isn't the slightest bit Ricky J. Why a supporter of creature government assistance causes the importance of the canine in the story to be critical. J. Why underlines the significance of the canine, expressing that I made the canine as significant as anything in the world. The canine figuratively and in a real sense saved Tony's life, and they really do. It's actual. I have met bunches of individuals who got a canine after their accomplice kicked the bucket, or their children got them a canine after their accomplice passed on, and it transformed them. They were blissful once more. You realize a pet is an individual from the family. We put down our feline in the spring, and I was crushed, so I can't envision a canine biting the dust. It's the main spoiler I do. The canine doesn't pass on hailing from a working-class foundation in perusing Berkshire. I encountered a slow ascent to notoriety. Ricky J. Y left on a different vocation, taking a shot at different positions, including an office director, an experience that later propelled his originally hit television series The Workplace. In a much more startling turn, he momentarily dealt with the band Calfskin before their forward leap in the mid-1990s. Jer likewise dug into the music scene, delivering 2 singles as a component of the new wave pop. Couple Sia Moving Road during the 2000s, JY made progress with satire spaces on the 11:0 show anyway. It was at the point at which he turned 40 in 2001 that he accomplished Boundless Acknowledgement, co-composing with Steven Bender and featuring in The Workplace the spearheading English mockumentary highlighting his depiction of the cringeworthy supervisor. David Brent, sorry, Mick, goodness, sorry. Mike, excuse me, but from that point forward, Jess has appreciated further TV accomplishments with shows like Additional Items, Derek, and Life's, as well. Short wandered into films with Graveyard, Intersection, and the innovation of lying in his stand-up visits, including Creatures and Mankind, earned tremendous prevalence. His stand-up Exceptional Humanity was essential for a detailed $40 million arrangement with Netflix, regardless of being inseparable from the person David Brent for a long time, and gained popularity for his provocative and troublesome persona. Has likewise become notable for Eternity and his backing against Creature, Remorselessness, and Poaching. This shift features a gentler side to him that differentiates with his reckless public picture. When inquired as to whether his existence in the wake of death has changed how individuals see him considering his past as a provocative and troublesome figure, J.Y. ponders the development of his public picture. Everybody sees you contrastingly. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.